I have a special episode today where I will provide you with insights and solutions regarding the challenges we are experiencing during COVID-19 pandemic. Three main topics I will cover are ways to entertain and homeschool kids peacefully, working efficiently from home, and managing stress. So grab your cup of tea and join me in this episode of Empowering Conversations. Hello and welcome to the Empowering Conversations podcast, a place to get inspired, challenged, and empowered by stories of immigrants who build their success from zero. I'm your host, Mehran. What if I told you I did a survey of small population and this is what I found? There's a group of people who are embracing the real meaning of life. They are spending quality time with their family, finally cooking healthy meals at home, sleeping a little more, reading their favorite books, improving their writing skills, tapping into their creativity by trying new recipes, dancing, singing, or playing more music. Every day, they feel grateful for being healthy, having a roof over their head, enough food on their table, with the luxury of clean, hot water. Do you know that group? That is you. Well, not all of you, but most of you. This is what you have been able to do in the past few weeks. Believe it or not, some of these were on your New Year's resolution wish list. Wasn't it? However, due to unfortunate situations, you are not living this dreamy life because you chose to. You had to stay home. This is something that was forced upon you along with many other challenges. You've been isolated from the society, and as a species, we are social creatures. As much as we try video calling, chatting, emailing, texting, we need the social face-to-face interaction. And the isolation we're experiencing can lead to depression, cognitive decline, poor sleep quality, weaker immune system, and potentially heart problems, if we can't manage it. While social isolation was part of your pain, it wasn't all. You told me you're experiencing much more than that. Someone wrote me, working from home is the toughest job. Having kids around make it even worse. I'm worried about my business and my employees. I can't sleep well at night, and to keep myself distracted, I'm on social media more often. And that doesn't seem to help. Another wrote, I'm a germaphobe. This has made it a lot harder. I am continuously cleaning and disinfecting. I don't enjoy shopping anymore because I am worried about touching infected surfaces. Oh, how can we not resonate with her? I don't know how to entertain my kids without a screen. Unfortunately, we don't have a garden, and I have to keep them busy inside. But also, I'm missing my friends. I miss the play dates. And I'm trying to take this one day at a time. Someone else said, at home, I'm worried about my family's health and homeschooling my boy. And at work, which is now done at home, it is harder to communicate with my team, staying up to date with management decisions. My team is stressed and I'm bearing a lot of responsibility. I keep reminding myself that I need to grow, and this is the time. This is what most of you are facing as of March 29th, 2020. I give the date because the list might change depending on the circumstances and how we are able to control COVID-19. I hear you. I talk with many individuals going over the same issues. That's why the format of this episode is a little different. Well, actually, a lot different. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I'm Mehran, and I support your career growth during tough times. If you look at my previous podcasts, they are about success stories of immigrants who started their lives from zero one way or the other, but have found a way to thrive. But today, I'm sharing some insights and solutions from you, my wise, pragmatic audience, while adding my personal research and experience to it. As always, do your own research and choose what is best for you and your family. So going back to the discussion, based on your feedback, I'm dividing the rest of the conversation into 3 main categories: entertaining and homeschooling kids, working from home, and managing your stress during COVID-19 outbreak. First, let's get to the kids. Entertaining kids is difficult, especially if they haven't reached the age where they can be independent. Younger kids need more time and attention from you. But with school-age children, you have to homeschool them few hours per day, making sure they're following teachers' instructions, reading and writing, working on their math and sciences, exercising, and so much more. With the older kids, you have to pretty much do the same, plus making sure they are keeping their social distance, monitoring their media consumption. I'm sure your teachers have made academic suggestions and have provided tons of information to your family. If they haven't yet, make sure you ask. Remember, this is tough. Your kids are going through the transition with you. It is not easy for them to stay home with you all day long, not seeing their friends or doing their favorite sports. So be creative. How can you support them? According to Darwin, the father of evolutionary biology, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change, that lives within the means available and works cooperatively against common threats. So make sure you show some flexibility while honoring what is valuable to you and your spouse. Second, utilize online resources while establishing a new limit. If previously you allowed an hour of screen time on weekends, maintaining that will be difficult, if not impossible. See how you can utilize the online resources better. In my cheat sheet, I have a list of things that my audience shared with me. If you have other resources, feel free to send them to me. Third, let them get bored. Out of boredom comes imagination, creativity, connection with inner self, problem solving, and higher confidence. So resist the temptation to offer a solution when your kid comes to you and say, "I'm bored." Let them figure it out. Again, this is very age dependent and is different from one kid to the other. 4, divide and conquer. Make sure you are a mindful parent, mindful of your own sanity and your spouse's and your kids. If one parent is more busy, be kind, offer help, do more. And when you are overwhelmed, pass the baton. Ask your spouse clearly and compassionately for what you need. No whining, no sarcasm allowed. At the end, I need to remind you that you're not a bad parent if you are stressed out and if your kids are experiencing part of your emotions. As a matter of fact, the very reason that you're listening to this means you're looking to improve. So pat yourself on the back. Seriously, do so. There are enough people giving you the message that you're making a mistake. that you're not a good parent. Not me. Not here. No guilt is allowed. You are doing the best you can. And I know that. If your friend calls after this episode is over and complains about the difficulty of entertaining or homeschooling their kid, what new insights will you provide them? Now the exciting part for me. Work. For those of you starting to work from home, it has been really difficult week. Most of you are highly inefficient due to the circumstances. And as a result, you're working longer hours. Home might not be a suitable work environment with all the distractions present. Making sure your young child doesn't interrupt your virtual meeting or your dog doesn't bark in the middle of an important call is stressful. Communicating with your manager or team members can be difficult. Some of you might feel less supported by your employer, spouse, and even a little overwhelmed. You might feel more stressed because of the extra emails and texts you have to manage, especially if English is not your first language. Listen, I know working from home is difficult. I've done it. I've done it for the past 4 years. Now I have a home office, but for the longest time, I worked in our family dining room area. So you might say I have few tips for you. You're right, I do. First of all, creating a pleasant, convenient work environment is essential to your productivity. You will need a designated area, a table, a good chair that supports your back, a partition that separates your area from the rest of the home if you don't have a separate room, monitors, keyboards, mouse, whiteboard, post-it notes, printer, paper, and other things you use regularly at your office. Yes, you need them, and not having them creates stress. And that is not needed. As you're creating your office space, remind yourself and your family to respect your work time. Yes, I said it. Remind yourself first. No social media, no unnecessary calls or texts during this time. Treat your laundry room or dishwasher as if they are 5 miles away and you need to walk to them. Remember, there's no perfect scenario. You will be distracted occasionally, especially if you have a young kid. Learn to adapt. Learn to relax. Everybody is having the same situation. Once your work is done, though, make sure you tend to your responsibilities so that your family and your spouse feels your presence and your support. 3. Routines. It is very important to develop a new routine. Have a set working hour and a set family time and stick to it. For example, I wake up at 4 a.m. and after I have my cup of coffee, I check my to-do list and get started on the most essential tasks. When my family wakes up, we have breakfast together. Everyone works in their offices, including my son. And at 4 p.m., we meet again for dinner. In between, of course, we have breaks, but work time is work time. Number 4, focus. When everything else in the home is screaming for your attention, you need to focus and work. Well, let me give you one tip that can help a lot. After you prioritize, which I hope most of you know by now how to do that, use the Pomodoro technique, where you spend 45 minutes of high focus time followed 15 minutes of downtime. Brendan Burchard, the high performance coach, trained us how to do 50 minutes of focus time and 10 minutes of break time. But I personally like Pomodoro a little more, Just because, 15 minutes is enough to respond to my text, walk around the house, enjoy a cup of tea, and now that my family is home, talk to them for a little bit and even play with my 8-year-old for a few minutes. On my cheat sheet, I have a link to some of the useful tips plus few other techniques to improve your focus, especially if you have younger kids who distract you continuously. So make sure you get that. I don't know how much you know, but one of the things I do is to teach immigrants how to communicate effectively. For the past few weeks, many come to me and say, "Oh, Mehran, we have to write more emails. We are constantly worried about how it comes across as. If we are clear, I'm stressed because I cannot openly communicate with my boss or my colleague anymore." People, chill. It is not the end of the world. Well, at least not yet. Breathe. You are learning. And believe me, most people are aware of your difficulty. As always, acknowledge your struggle. Have a sense of humor about it and don't take it personally. If someone made a suggestion, listen to them. But continue to work on your communication skills. This is a good time. And if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. Has your child walked in during a video call naked? Or your dog started humping his stuffed toy during your one-on-one? We have seen that and much more. And it is okay. Instead of stressing out, laugh it out. In fact, how about making a video out of it and sharing it on social media? Let's laugh about it together. And make sure you tag me so that I can share that video with our community. Now the toughest topic, stress management. Listen, we are all concerned. We're concerned about our health, our family's health, our community. We don't want to go back to work or attend a party and see the empty chair. The future is uncertain. Our jobs, our businesses are on the line. Most of us lose sleep because of the stress. To top that off, we are bombarded with news of who passed away and the medical team not having proper equipment. There's an intense fear of losing the job, business, home, fear of unknown, fear of loss. I get it. It is a tough time. But I want you to remember that we are in this as a community. How many times I've said that? Right? Because we are. In fact, every pandemic or war resulted into building stronger communities. And so with this one, if we choose to protect one another and stay home, all you need to do is stay positive, stay inside, regardless of how difficult it is. Now you might ask, well, how can I be positive midst of this, Mehran? Let me tell you about a 5-step process that can help. Do this every day, and I promise your days will be less stressful. You can take notes or simply download my cheat sheet in the link below, because I know I'm talking about so many things and so much information is thrown at you that you might have lost few points. So don't worry, I got you covered. Now let's get to the 5-step process where you can reduce your stress and improve your positivity. Step 1. Whenever you're stressed, acknowledge it. For example, it is stressful to do my grocery shopping without the concern of what I touched. Oh my gosh, how many of us can resonate with that? What used to be really fun is now one of the most painful part of our week. It is stressful to work from home with my spouse and kids around. Acknowledging, right? It is stressful to entertain kids while I'm worried about my job. Right? Acknowledging again. Step 2. Pick one thing you can focus on achieving in the scenario and let go of the rest. For example, well, I'm going to do online shopping or be a little more flexible. For example, if my kids don't have milk one day, that's fine. I can show them some flexibility. We can have something else instead. What a valuable lesson to teach our kids. Step 3, know everyone is doing their best. If your spouse is screaming your name in the middle of a call, she's stressed too. Remind them without being sarcastic or indirect. Step 4, encourage and applaud your family, your team, your friends. Don't bring your unresolved issues from the past to the present. Focus on now and the challenges your family is facing at the moment. And when they do something right, simply appreciate them. More than ever, we need to hear about what goes well. Don't you agree? Step 5. This is my favorite. At night, as you're getting ready for bed, do a www search. I learned this from Dr. Martin Seligman, father of positive psychology. Are you ready for this valuable tip? Search what went well in your day. Did you learn how to work more optimally? Did your kid cooperate a little more? Were you able to try a new hobby? Since I learned and practiced this simple method, it has been incredibly helpful to shift my mood at the time that all the problems seem more intense. Night, right? So do your www search every night. Now the best part of the story, the icing on the cake. Do you remember when we migrated here? Have you listened to some of the stories of my friends in this podcast? Dr. D, Salma, Nelson, we all started from zero, one way or the other. We all had to show endurance, flexibility, and adaptability to be where we are today. You already have the resources you need. You will come out of this stronger, more focused, more determined, while living a more meaningful life. I know that. History will repeat itself. So stay positive, stay safe, stay home, and see what can you do to protect yourself and your community. Now I want you to listen to this. There's a group of people who are embracing the real meaning of life. They are spending quality time with their family, finally cooking healthy meals at home, sleeping a little more, reading their favorite books, improving their writing skills, tapping into their creativity by trying new recipes, dancing, singing, or playing more music with their loved ones. Every day, they feel grateful for being healthy, having a roof over their head, enough food on the table, with the luxury of clean hot water. And they choose to enjoy this life despite the difficulties they face. As always, thank you for tuning in, and I hope to have you in my next episode of Empowering Conversations, where I will interview a successful immigrant from Colombia who will share her immigration journey, as well as tips on how to improve your language. So make sure you subscribe, leave me a comment, get the cheat sheet, and send this episode to those in need of inspiration and solution.